Hey, it's Brian Johnson. Good morning. Good morning, Subtle Significance. Welcome back. Kathleen, welcome. How's everyone doing this morning? Can everyone hear me okay? I pulled over on the side of the road. I didn't make it home in time. I was meeting with a new client this morning. It's crazy enough, this guy has actually done a lot of the marketing for the George Foreman grill and the blue blocker sunglasses and stuff like that. So we're fixing to do some blasting off. So awesome. So let's go ahead and get in gear and let's rock and roll. So go ahead and check in. How's everyone doing this morning? Give me a one-word emotion of how you're feeling this morning. I appreciate all the hearts and support. We're gonna have some awesome information today. I feel it. So who all's on? I know Kathleen. I saw a few people pop on. Good morning. There you go. Hey, Don, how are you? So, the rough morning already. Uh-oh, I've been up since like 1:30. I know you did, Kathleen. I went to bed yesterday at 7:45. I had some sweets for my reward meal. Good morning. And ended up crashing out about 7:45. Woke up about 1:30, and then I've been up since 1:30. So I've already got 10,000 steps in. I already created all my program. We're going to do a whole lifestyle upgrade program and a system and put it all into place. So that's really what my conversation was this morning with Ron. So we're going to start doing some working out videos and stuff like that too. So a lot of awesome stuff in store for all of you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So here are some, hey Tracy. So I would please appreciate it if you hit the little share button on your screen so we can get as many people to this as possible, because I'm going to be sharing with you how to be successful creating your dream body. We're going to talk specifically about that. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. So how this works for all the hearts you may see, Tech Ninja, thank you, Mark, all the hearts and things that you may see flying up on the screen, those are basically letting me know, A, you like the information, letting the people know that are watching this and that you're inviting. There's also social credibility, stating that, hey, you can learn some good, valuable stuff from here. So all that I ask is that you use as many hearts as you feel called for, and I appreciate your support. So, hey, good morning, Jolie. So, here's what I would love to hear from each one of you. I would like to know the top challenge that you face right now as I start talking about this information. So, as those are trickling in, your top challenge, what is your top challenge right now? Good morning. So, top challenge. Let's hear what your top challenges are, and I'm going to take your top challenge and I'm going to relay my information through that, addressing your issue and turning it into your opportunities. So, staying committed. Okay, it's a good one. Healing my gut pain. Yep, Mike. All right. Early morning workouts. TM Brown. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What we got? Come on, y'all still sleeping or what? I've been up since 1:30. Getting motivated, all right, for sure. I understand that. If it was easy, everyone would be in great shape, right? To not snack at night, holy cow, you and me, we must be related. I love to eat at night, and I eat all the stuff I shouldn't be. I feel lost in the gym. Okay, perfect time. All right, so let's discuss all those, okay? I feel the same here. Perfect. Sorry, so everyone, get your pens, get your papers. Cool kid, welcome, my friend. I invite you to open your mind, because our mind is only useful when it's open, okay? So here's the first thing. Have you heard the saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything? So I say that because if you have no end results in mind, if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, you're not going to be committed. And anytime something comes along that sounds awesome, it's going to waver you because you're not sure of what you're looking to create. So step number one, know your end result. So my end result, and I'll share with you my challenges. My end result is to get down to about 205, 210 at about 6%. Now let me explain to you. I am a professional, and for the last year I have been trying to get this off. And I'm talking banging my freaking head. Okay? What I found is that when I went to my doctor, I have a doctor that I go to that helps me get healthier. Hey Melissa, thanks for hopping on. And what I found is that I actually had some formaldehyde in my cells that was keeping my body from producing the energy and producing the cellular level information to allow my body to drop fat. So literally, I have literally felt I have wasted almost 8 to 9 months of not having the right information, the right programming, the right macronutrients, meaning proteins, carbs, and fats, how many, all of that stuff. And I was so frustrated, I almost quit every time. Here's the deal. I know I can do it. I know you can do it. It just takes the right information and just making sure that you are staying consistent, making sure that you're checking your results weekly. So if you understand where you're going and you're checking your results, when I say checking your results weekly, I'm talking checking your body fat. If you're not checking your body fat weekly, then you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then it's going to be difficult to know where you're going. If you're checking your body fat weekly, that allows you to have real-time feedback and allows you to understand if your macronutrients are working for you, meaning your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. If no matter what body you're trying to create, the deal is you have to understand what it takes for your body to produce those type of effects. Meaning you need to understand how many calories your body burns a day. There's machines that you can give you that information. There's formulas. Like here's a couple of formulas. The Catch McCradle is one, and we have all this stuff in our nutrition program. So if you're really looking to dial down your nutrition and really looking to be a freaking master at it, we have a whole program that's done digitally that takes you through all this stuff. So there's formulas that you can use to figure out exactly what you need to do on a daily basis. Now, if you don't understand that, that's step number one. Step number one is getting your goals. Step number two is finding out how much proteins, carbs, and fats you need. Okay, you need to also understand which proteins, carbs, and fats you feel best off of. Every person, like I've worked with over 17,000 people at this moment, and every person is different. So what works for me may not work for you. Some of it may, but some of it may not. It's important for you to understand that it's all just feedback. Pay attention when you eat some food or you drink some protein shakes or whatever. What does your stomach feel like? What's your brain feel like? Do you have gas? Do you have indigestion? Do you not feel good? Do you feel cloudy-minded? All of that is information. Okay? So far, how far are we on point with some of your questions that you've asked? If so, punch yes. If no, say 2. And let's get some interaction here. So, and here, let's talk about some time. You make time for what's important for you. And if you don't make time for what's important for you, it's not going to happen. Meaning, for me, for things to happen, I put them in my phone. Meaning, so Tracy, what specifically do you require more information on? We're going to keep talking, but I'm just getting some ideas on how to better address you as we're going along. So, if you don't have these things programmed down in your schedule, meaning like creating a master schedule. So, for my master schedule between 5 a.m. and 7:30 or 8 a.m. that is me time. That's when I get to go to the gym. That's when I have my spiritual time. That's when I do stuff that I choose to do. Okay, we'll talk about that. If you don't have your times scheduled out for you, you are the most important person in your life. If you're not taking care of you, you're not going to take care of anyone else to the best of your ability. So making sure that you have your time down when you go to the gym, when you do whatever, whenever you have you time, it needs to be in your schedule, so that way it doesn't get booked and doesn't get shoved around. And if you don't do it in the morning, it's important to understand that willpower is not on will call, meaning it takes sugar and glycogen for us to use our brain to make decisions. So Kathleen, this will work for you. Let me get a sip. Alright, if you think about our willpower as like the battery of our phone, as we use our phone, the battery goes down. The same way with our willpower. So literally, if you've been making decisions to eat good all day and stay on your food and do your activities and all that stuff, and by the end of the day, when you're worn down, you're tired, and you're like, man, it's been a long day, your ability to make good eating choices is limited. If you do not have any goals, it's very limited. If you understand, oh wow, I can't wait to wear that new bathing suit, or I can't wait to put on my new swimsuit, or man, I can't wait to try on my new suit, any of that stuff. If you don't have any of those aspirations and those visions, you're not going to eat well. Let me just tell you, for me, if you have stuff going on subconsciously, emotionally, that is creating unrest and anguish and mental stress, you are going to have issues, and it's going to show up in your body. So there's a lot of stuff you may find that Chris and I do around emotional work. Emotions is where it's at. We are emotionally fat and emotionally out of shape, and it shows up in our body, which means that we get to get emotionally straight, and our body will come along with it. And then we start feeding our body good foods, and then we start doing gentle amounts of activity. All this stuff we discuss in our body language training, and all this stuff we discuss in our emotional consciousness, which is really the key. So writing your goals down, putting your stuff in a master schedule. Now let me have a question for all of you. If you meal prep, hey Sonia, if you meal prep, it's more emotionally from last relationship. I'm pissed and I allow that to filter in my mind. Okay, we'll talk about that. So what I would invite you to consider is this. How many of you prep your meals? If you prep your meals, type 1. If you don't prep your meals, type 2. If you can, share this. 2. All right, 1. I figured you did. I know you did, Mark. Jolie. Come on, Jolie. Cool kid. All right, awesome. All right, so we got about a 50-50 split. So let me explain this to you. First thing I always have to say is my clients come to me and say, man, Brian, getting in shape sure isn't that easy. I was like, no shit. If it was easy, everyone would be shredded and jacked, don't you think? That's right. It takes work. It takes consistent work. It takes consistently dealing with your shit and consistently giving yourself permission to recommit to your goals and consistently giving yourself permission to recommit and move forward. So here's one of the things to consider. If you're not prepping your food, you are going to be subjective, meaning you're going to make decisions based off of what's available, based off where you're going for lunch, based off who you're around. If you're not hanging around people who have a healthy lifestyle, then you are screwed. I'll say that again. You are screwed. Because, awesome, it's imperative for you to cook your food, or someone cook your food, so you have it measured out. Like I have a young lady that makes all my food, that I handle all her nutrition, so I go into, I thought you cooked your food, cool kid? Thought you said 1. So I have a person that makes my food, and it hasn't always been that way, and I've been measuring my food out since I was a better part of 17 years old. So cooking your food and having a plan is vitally important for your success, because if not, remember the whole willpower deal, it's not available on will call. So as you use your willpower throughout the day and you don't have your food in front of you when it's time to eat and you are starving, count on having less of an ability to make a great decision. I started on the raw food diet and everyone in my house started eating better. Yeah, good, Mike. Awesome. So hey, is this information helping you so far? Yes or no? P. Yes. 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 All right. So if it's helpful for you, pop some hearts out there. So I know that helps me to know if I am giving information that is helping you, then I know I'm on the right path. If I see no hearts going on, that means I'm either A, going to stop wasting my time, and B, going to change the subject to create something that may be a little bit more helpful for you. Doesn't apply to me. It's all good though. So I caught the last part of that little bitty sentence. Doesn't apply to me, but helpful. Who said that and what? And let's figure out what applies to you. So Kathleen, one of the important things to remember, and this goes for all of us on here, if you have emotional baggage from a former relationship, type yes or no. There's no judgment either way. It's just, let's just figure out what's going on. 2, no. Dun, dun, dun. We'll wait for a couple more. Yes or no. If you have emotional baggage or leftovers, type 1. If you don't, type 2. And it could be, how about this? It could also be from mom and dad. So if you have some stuff going on with mom and dad, type in a 1 for yes or a 2 for no. Okay, so let's address a couple of these things. All right, so these are all 1s, so these are yeses. All right, so here we go. It is very important to understand that our emotional body, or our subconscious, will basically store every experience, situation, good or bad, in our body. Meaning we may not be aware of it, but we are reacting off of it to some extent because it's still filtering. The key to this is giving yourself permission to forgive whoever it is that is in your life that has created these situations. it's extremely important to make sure that you're not in the victim role, meaning, well, this happened to me and my life sucks. That's not going to work for you. I invite you to consider, if you find yourself in that role, to give yourself permission to forgive whomever you have the issue with. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself, and give yourself permission to move forward. Everything under heaven has a purpose, meaning a relationship, an experience with mom or dad, whatever the case may be. It all has a purpose. And when we can just understand that, all right, I have some feedback in my life and in my experience of things that I don't really like how I feel or what's going on. That is feedback as to what's functioning internally, because those people, places, things, and circumstances and events that show up, they are showing up because that's what we are putting out emotionally, meaning that emotional feeling that is vibrating underneath our awareness, potentially, is what's creating those experiences. Now you may ask, well, how does this count towards me having a dream body? A lot. This is what makes the biggest deal, because here's the deal. If you have some unforgiveness or some sorrow, some guilt, whatever, what happens is your body goes, well, you don't love me. And when you don't love me, do you think you're going to make smart eating choices? Do you think that you're going to make good choices and create good behaviors and habits that are going to support you loving yourself? Or do you think that you're going to sabotage yourself? So if you think you're going to sabotage yourself, type yes. If you think you're not going to sabotage yourself, type 2. Let's see where we're at on that one. So you think you're not going to sabotage yourself, is that correct? Subtle significance. If you have some unforgiveness, some anger, and some resentment or something like that towards someone, it could be towards anyone, do you think if those are active that that is going to affect you and how your body is showing up? You will every time. Yes, for sure. So I would invite you to consider that if you have anything other than love for someone, that is affecting you, because there is no one outside of you and me. I am you, you am me. So if I'm talking to you and I'm being a shithead to you, I'm being a shithead to myself. That doesn't work too well. If I'm loving you, then I'm loving myself. And you can only love someone as much as you love yourself. So if you're not loving yourself and you think you're showing up fully in your life, you're not. And if you're not loving yourself, what's going to happen is you're not going to create habits to benefit yourself. You're not going to create workout times. You're not going to create food prep times. None of this stuff is going to be important to you, because your body's like, well, you don't love me. I'm not going to do that. And understand something. How many of you remember me telling the story about the elephant and the ant? Question mark. Yeah. Awesome, Julie. So how many of you, if you remember me telling the story about the elephant and the ant, type 1. If you don't, type 2. 1. Few ones. So basically what the whole point of me asking that question is if you have things going on your elephant or your subconscious that are unresolved, that are keeping you from being peaceful and being in a position mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, in a position of joy and enthusiasm, then there are some things that are holding you back. And if you're looking to create the body of your dreams, emotionally is where you go first. There's so many people that I know in the bodybuilding community that are extremely unhealthy. A lot of it's emotional stuff, but just because there's a lot of things that are unhealthy about it. So there are ways to get in great shape and to be massively healthy at the same time. And the trick is finding that key that works for you, because they're not all going to fit. You got to find out what works for you and what works in your system, and take notes and make sure you're mindful of what you do and when you do it. I'm a tough subject. Potentially, well, you are creating that with your words, so I believe you. A better choice perhaps may be to say that I am open-minded and I am willing to receive feedback and I am willing to upgrade my way of thinking. But if you say I am a tough subject, then you're going to get a tough subject, and everything in your life is going to be tough, because that's what you are speaking. Instead, to say I choose to make this fun and easy. Okay, so let's talk about creating the body of your dreams some more. So we talked about emotions, we talked about mom and dad, we talked about former relationships, we talked about forgiveness, talked about giving yourself permission to move forward, talked about making your food. If you're not making your food, that is the #1 habit that you get to do. Not got to do, get to do. You got to do it and you get to do it. If that makes sense. Because if you're not making your food, then you're screwed. There's no way around it. I've done this for so long and too many years, and the only time I can be successful is when I pack my food. So if I go out of town, I pack my food. I know I will probably have 1 to 2 meals going out to eat somewhere. So I'll take enough food to make sure I have, 3 or 4 meals a day or whatever that looks like. But this is a lot of stuff that we do for people. We help them to understand, that's right, how to do things on the road and what to do and how to make it work. It's not really that difficult once you understand the basics and can understand how to implement them in your life and in your lifestyle. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to open it up for questions at this moment. A lot of the stuff that we discussed now more in depth in our emotional programs, in our body language program, specifically our nutrition program. So if you're looking to really dive in and get a lot more information, then that's where to go. So any questions specifically that you can think of right now? And remember, if you are waking up between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m., that means that you have unforgiveness, resentment going on. If you're waking up between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m., that means you have fear, which is your lung. Not wrong, just feedback gives emotions. Okay? Allergies. So typically, how to get motivated to work out early in the morning again. Well, TM Brown, do you have any goals written down, question mark? And for you, Jolie, making sure you're doing sauerkraut, making sure you're doing good bellies. What about the carb? Okay. So gut health is really important, and it's important to understand that if you have food allergies, the question to ask yourself is, how long have I had these? Have I had these my entire life, or have I not? If you have not had them, then that means they're reversible. And gut health is very important. Making sure you're using probiotics, making sure you're using enzymes. Some say workout makes them feel awake, makes me feel tired. Then something's off with your workouts and your food. If you're not eating enough food, subtle significance. Sometimes I feel numb in my hand, not wanting to feel what you're handling, or not understanding and being numb on how to move forward. Does that make sense, Mike? So talk about good carbs and bad carbs, Tracy. So it's really, I wouldn't say irrelevant. So let's talk about a few different things. So you have simple sugars, and you have, so that will be a conversation that you and I will have on a one-on-one level. So welcome who just joined. We're talking about good carbs, bad carbs, which ones are optimal. If you're trying to drop body fats, fruits are not in your diet at the moment. If you're trying to drop body fat, fats are typically going to be better for you. If you're going to use carbohydrates, sweet potatoes and quinoa. Sweet potatoes is probably one of my top ones. I don't really prefer or care for grains too much. If I do, I'll have quinoa. Beans on occasions, maybe. Squash and zucchini are good. Refined sugars, like in the form of candy bars and Cokes, are not good for you. Gatorade, not good for you. Really, to determine what type of carbs you need to be eating, you need to figure out what your goal is. So, TM Brown, I think it was you. In order for you to feel like working out in the morning, you need to have goals and understand why you're working out in the morning. Your why is what's going to compel you through all the times you don't want to get your ass out of bed and do it. I know for a fact I will feel better after I work out, so I get my ass out of bed and I do it. And I know that it will affect my day to the tune of about 70%. Be more effective, energetic, empowered, all of that. I will feel immensely better if I work out. So that works well for me. People who are trying to drop body fat, ketogenic diets or protein and fat diets is really where you're going to have your magic. There's so many people nowadays who've got blood sugar issues and who've got so many things that are going on in our metabolism because of the lack of activities and the what's the word I'm looking for? Sedentary lifestyles that we have, and people are still having carbohydrates and sugars, and if you don't burn them immediately, they turn to fat. Most people are not eating enough. If you're not eating enough, your body's burning muscle tissue, it's storing fat. I promise you this much. In order for you to lose weight, you're probably going to be eating a lot more food than what you think you should be. Hands down. Let's do this. By show of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever works for you, how many meals are each of you doing a day? 5. Okay. Kathleen, you're up forever. What time do you go to bed? 2 to 3. Cool kid. 4. 3. Speed up metabolism. Yeah, so what I have found to be most effective is doing between 5 and 6 meals a day. If I'm up every 3 hours, I eat. And I can tell you that when I do, I feel I may have to go, okay, awesome. Thanks, Jolie, for your help and your support. Love you. Have an awesome day, and choose to make it fun and easy. Thank you for stopping by. So, meals, 5 to 6 meals a day. Gained weight, then your portions were off. Subtle significance. You weren't eating enough protein. You were eating too much carbs and too much fats. I do eat about every 3 hours. Kathleen, what time do you go to bed? I used to do 1,500 to 2,000 a day. 1,500 and 2,000 is a big gap difference. Were you doing 1,500 or are you doing 2,000? There's going to be a lot of variables that kind of come into play with that. 10ish. Okay, so you're up at 3:30, aren't you, Kathleen? I think I remember you saying 3:30 early bird. Craziness. My body is used to that many. Yeah, so Kathleen, I would probably encourage you to go to 6 meals. Because if you're up from 3:30, you eat at 3:30, 6:30, the more I eat, the more I gain. Something's off with your equation then. 3:30, 6:30, 9:30, 12:30, 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30. Yeah, you probably would feel 6 meals much better, especially as crazy active as you are. What I would encourage you to do, Kathleen, is check your body fat once a week as active as you are and see what your body is doing. Then you can use that information to make data adjustments. I take meds for thyroid. What would affect that? Do you have any unresolved anger? And do you have hypothyroidism or hyper? So the important part of having meals every 3 hours, 5 to 6 of them a day, I would say 6 for most people, is that it allows your metabolism, it allows your muscle tissue to stay active. What people don't understand is that protein is the only thing. So hypo is anger with mom. Is that accurate? So hypo, we're talking thyroid right now. I'm 118.9%. Yep. So yeah, that's your issue, Tracy. We can resolve all that. We go through a lot of that in our emotional healing program. So here's the deal. What I'll open for all of you on the call, if you're interested in getting more nutritional information, you need to check out our nutritional program. For the next hour, I'll give you the code. You can go to our website, thinkgreatloseweight.com. All the stuff that I share with you, plus a ton more, is in our nutrition program. If you are interested in getting it for yourself, the list price on it is $4.99, but I can get it to you for $1.99 in the next hour. Go to our site, thinkgreatloseweight.com. Use the nutrition code. Use the word nutrition for the code and hit apply, and it'll take the price down to $1.99. I'll extend that for the next hour or two. Tracy, for your emotional stuff, if you choose to take advantage of our emotional program, it will help you immensely, because until you resolve your issues subconsciously, it don't matter what you do. You're going to sabotage yourself all day long till you're freaking green in the face. And you're going to be like, I'm doing everything right. And it's because your body's like, well, you don't love me. You've got unforgiveness and anger towards someone. Until you resolve that, it's not going to resolve in you. So you can go to our site, thinkgreatloseweight.com, if you want to check it out. You can look into the emotional series. There's some videos that I've done on there that tell you more about it. If you choose to get involved, then go to the site and use the code EMOTION, I believe. Is that right, Mark? Use the code EMOTION, and for the next hour, I'll extend you that 70% discount off of it. It will change your life if you use it. And just like anything I share with you will change your life if you use it. If you don't, it's like getting a piece of toilet paper and wiping your butt with it. It's going to stink, and it's not going to do anything for you. Okay? So, great question. How many of you are going to the restroom daily? Type 1, 2, or 3, and I'm talking bowel movements. Let's have an awesome conversation. It's important because if you are emotionally backed up, that's going to show up in your gut. Mike Sewell, that's a question for you. Leaky gut syndrome, potentially has some emotional unresolved issues. It sounds like with the numbness in your hand, your feet, that you're not understanding how to handle what you're handling and trying to move forward with what you're understanding. So 1 time a day. So really, ideally, you would thrive off of 2 to 3. Okay, so some things to remember. Like, okay, so how many servings of vegetables would you say that each of you are eating a day? And I'm speaking to myself at the same time. I get to include more myself. So if you're saying, all right, I have, a cup of broccoli or a salad, just put 1 serving, 2 serving, 3 servings, 4. Let's see what you got. 3 to 4. Okay, that's good. 2, 4, 12. Awesome. 10, 2. Okay, so the first thing that I would encourage, probably 60% of you that typed in 1s and 2s, that I would encourage you to get up to 3s and 4s. Vegetables will change your life. Vegetables have all the phytochemicals and nutrients that our bodies need on a micro level that will massively change how you show up. Energy-wise, mental capacity, because you're having live foods, all that stuff. Okay? So, my suggestion, breakfast, ate kale and my eggs. Breakfast, made kale and my eggs. Got it. I personally think that working out in the morning is probably one of the best things to do for yourself. You get yourself out of the way, you get it out of the way, you're done with it. If you're one of those people who likes to work out in the afternoon, as long as that worked for you and you can commit to it and be consistent and it's realistic, that's really the key. So understanding so far is just tying this all back into creating your dream body. You have to make your food. You got to get clear on what your goals are, what you're looking to accomplish. It needs to be measurable, meaning it needs to be a date, an event, or it needs to have data. Like, I want to be 210 at 6%. Whatever that looks like for you. You need numbers so you can say, all right, am I closer to that or am I not? If you don't have it quantifiable, then you can't measure it effectively and make decisions based off of shitty information. It doesn't work well. So you're going to need to work out, you're going to need to do cardio, you need to track your food, you need to understand what you're eating, you need to check your measurements every week, every 7 days preferably. Make sure you have your food, make sure you understand what to eat and how much of it. If you're not working with someone to help you with that, that's what we do. I would really encourage you to invest in yourself on some level to understand these things, because guess what? Our car is like our body. I'll cancel. Our body is our car in life. And if we don't take care of it, you can't trade it in. You only get one. So the only thing you can do is consistently upgrade your level of thinking to consistently upgrade your life. And it's going to start with how you view things emotionally. Like Tracy, for you, hypothyroidism is with your mom. Your medical system knows how to treat your thyroid because that's what they do with medications. Ultimately, your issue is unforgiveness with mom. Solve that, a lot of your eating issues, weight issues will be resolved. It's all in our nutrition and our emotional program. So I would encourage you to invest in yourself and to use those, because that's what's going to help to set you free from what you are experiencing now, so you can move to the next level in your life. Sorry, does anyone have any other questions right this second? If that information has been useful, let me know through some hearts. I'm about to hop off today. It's my anniversary today, so we're going to go enjoy ourselves. Any questions specifically? Anything that I need to discuss before I hop off the phone? I've got it calibrated to pinch my skin. When I measure fat, how do I properly take the reading? Well, you have anywhere from, thank you sir, you have anything from a 3 site to a 4 site to a 9 site. I prefer doing a 9 site because it gives me more data, because I hold fat in some places less than other places I hold more. So if you have someone that can help you, that always helps. But also, if you can do it where you don't have to have someone to be dependent upon it, that's great, because then you don't have to wait to check your measurements. So I would just look up on Google, 3-site body fat test, or 4-site or 9-site or something like that. And that will give you some data to make decisions off of. And when you have your body fat, you can structure out your whole nutrition program. That's the importance of having it. But if you're just throwing crap up against the wall and saying, well, I'm going to start at 2,000 calories, I mean, fuck, it's like driving to China or somewhere without a map. You can't even get there. Okay? So understanding that and understanding what your data is to make decisions is extremely helpful, so you're not wasting your time. And when you are off your track, you immediately just make a little minor adjustment. Give yourself permission to make it fun and easy. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself, because you're going to be beating yourself up potentially when things aren't working right. And it's at that time that you get to just say, oh, it's okay. I get to make this adjustment, check it again in 4 or 5 days and see if it's moving and see if it's changing. It'll happen that fast. Our bodies are constantly changing. Constantly burning through stuff, constantly building stuff, all that stuff. So, what workouts do you suggest for muscle definition? That's all about your diet. Abs and rips and cuts are all made in the kitchen. Don't matter what kind of workout you're doing. Subtle significance. You would highly benefit from our nutrition program and our emotional program, because all the questions you're asked is stuff that can be answered for you in depth and to a palatable way that will help you immensely. I would encourage you to go to our website and check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. Go to thinkgreatloseweight.com and then go check out emotional consciousness, and then go check out nutrition empowerment. Both of them would be helpful for you. If you use the codes you have till the next hour, like I said, the nutrition empowerment code is nutrition, and the emotional thank you, Tim Brown. The emotional code is emotional or emotion. One of those, try both. Yes, the food you eat makes a difference in building muscle. Yes, it does, for sure. And getting cuts and getting lean is all. Have you ever heard the saying, abs are made in the kitchen? That's 100% fact. Thank you, dear. Abs are made in the kitchen. Meaning, I don't give a rat's how hard you work out. If you are not eating accurately to support your goal, you're not going to see results. You're going to be like, man, I'm working so hard. I got a trainer and I'm paying $70 a session and they have done nothing with my diet. Then you don't have a good trainer. That's one of the reasons, and one of the biggest things I found an issue when I was personal training people is that there's a lot of personal trainers out there that don't have a freaking clue of how to eat. I don't give a shit what kind of workout you're doing. You can eat great and get results without working out at all. But you got to find that balance. Body language. Alright, ladies and gents, that's all I got. I'm signing out. I'll probably be unplugged for the next day or two to enjoy myself. I will be inspired here and there, and I will shoot some things out. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out. Hope you had some awesome information today, and I hope it was helpful for you. Yep, cool kid, my pleasure. I appreciate your support, and I value our time together, so have an awesome day. And that's all I got. So just wrapping up, check out our website, thinkgreatloseweight.com, and you can get a lot more understanding of what we're doing and more in depth. And there's videos on all of our stuff. Yes, appreciate you, Mark. There's videos on all of our stuff, so you can kind of figure out what it's about, and just feel free to reach out. You can connect with me on there. Yep, awesome. Y'all have a good day.